When did you first hear about your birth story?
I've always grown up knowing it. That was not something that my parents hid from me at all, which I am very thankful for, because I know some people don't tell their children that they're adopted. So it was good for me to know originally that, I knew the whole thing up front. Everything, the dumpster, that I don't know my birth parents. And I think that gave me a good look at my parents and really appreciate who they are and their honesty.
What was your reaction when you became old enough to be aware of how big of a deal this was, that you were found in that dumpster outside of Liberty Lanes? That doesn't exist anymore, by the way.
I know, it's crazy. I think I started to realize it a little bit deeper when I was, I'd say 7 or 8 years old. Kind of freaked me out for a while, because you go around in such a small community and you don't really know who you could possibly be related to, and that, totally just freaked me out as a kid. But I think once I got into my preteens, it kind of subsided and I wasn't as freaked out anymore.
You read the articles about the circumstances, and it seems like you are kind of a miracle that you survived. You were cold.
Yes.
And you were in a plastic bag.
Yes.
When you think about that.
Honestly, all of the things that they did to end my life at the time actually were things that helped me survive. They tied off my umbilical cord, so that stopped bleeding. They had put me and tied off the plastic bag, which actually insulated and kept me warm, and also caused me to not suffocate because there was that air bubble. So I actually think that's kind of ironic.
And I think the layers on top of you,
yes,
the garbage kind of kept, from our story, kept you warmer because it was cold.
Oh yeah, March is always cold.
Always cold in Montana.
Always cold.
Did other kids talk about it? Did you ever get teased, like, oh, you're the dumpster baby, or you're that girl from the news, or you know how kids are that way?
I mean, in Stevensville, I had a few kids. I didn't go to public school until 6th grade. Before that, I was homeschooled. And there were a few kids that would like to pick on you, but I don't think I ever got fazed by it. I think I knew enough people and they knew enough about me to kind of have my back through school. And then I never really had to deal with it when I moved to California because nobody knew, so I didn't really have that much of a problem with that.
Do you tell people now? It's such 20 years have passed. It's such a fascinating anecdote to what your life has become. Do you trust people? Do you tell them, or, oh, by the way, I was in a dumpster?
Yeah. It comes up pretty often, especially going to church with my parents. My dad is still a pastor right now. And it's a common story, and it's a good one, and I don't mind talking about it. But it's not usually like a first date topic.
Exactly, right? Here's an interesting note. So I was telling you that so many people in Missoula were just sending you as this little baby so much love. And then I think a lot of people let you have your space.
Yes.
So for those watching and who remember you, how's baby Grace doing today?
I'm really good. And one of the big things that I remember is that I did get funds that came in from all over. And a lot of that is actually what's taken me through school. And so I really appreciate that. Gotten my first car from that. And so I'm really happy with my life. I think I got a good one.
That is so awesome. Now, so you contacted me right at the day of 20 years.
Yes.
And then also I saw a posting to Kim's page, like right at 20 years.
Yes.
Is it significant? What's 20 years? Like, what was it about that day that made you reach out?
We used to have a tradition that every year on my birthday we would rewatch the old tapes that you guys sent us a while back. And we hadn't watched them in a few years, and we had just moved to Oregon, and so we were kind of like going through the phase of just wanting to watch it all again. And I just remember sitting down and being like, I don't think I've actually really thanked everybody. And it was one of those realizations where I thought, yeah, I think I'll just reach out to everybody and show my appreciation. And yeah.
They're going to be thrilled to see you. You know,
I hope so.
You were a tiny baby. You were
I
just
was.
like 6 pounds 3 ounces, something like that.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like you're a miracle?
I feel like God has put me and protected me in this world for a lot of reasons. And I think the more I talk about it, the more I think, yes, I am a miracle, but I don't overthink it a lot because I don't want to think too highly of myself for that. So I think I have a purpose, and I think I'll fulfill whatever purpose God needs me here for, but I don't make myself too cocky for it.
So I think your faith probably has helped guide you through what
Yes.
could really trip up some other people. I mean, I can imagine thinking about it, like somebody tried to throw me away and end my life, and it didn't happen, but I feel like maybe did your faith help you to absorb that and understand that it wasn't about that?
It has in a lot of ways, and I think it's been a comfort to me a lot. I've been able to accept it better, especially as I've gotten older. It's not as hard for me to say, oh yeah, somebody tried to kill me when I was a baby. It's more like, you know, things happen, and I think I got the best place I could be and the best parents that I could have. So yeah, I'm just happy with it.
So they never found the bio parents?
No, it's still an open case. So
Still an open case.
yes.
If you could say anything to them, would you?
I forgave them a long time ago. Sorry. I didn't think I'd get emotional. But I do. I forgave them a long time ago. And wherever they're at, I hope they're happy. I really do. They deserve it. Whatever they went through, whatever they felt that they needed to get rid of me for, that's for them to know. I don't need to know. I don't need to know who they are. I don't need to know their story. That's on them. And I'm happy, so.
You're so brave. So happy for you. I'm so
Thank
happy
you.
that you got this. I mean, we always knew that you'd been adopted by a nice Christian family in the Bitterroot,
Yeah.
and I always kind of listened. And a couple of years ago, I thought, I wonder whatever happened. You know, I
Yeah.
wonder. I think a lot of people wonder that. Like, what happened to our little
Oh, yeah.
baby?
I've met people in the weirdest places, on planes, on work days, where they're just like, oh, I know who you are. And I'm like, wow, I didn't think people from all the way over here in California knew who I was, but they did, so.
How do they know? Like, they can't recognize you. I mean, I can see your sweet little baby because I've looked at that for so long. But
Well, I actually knew a kid in high school in California, and he didn't know the story at all. But we had just talked about it one day, and he looked at me the next day and was like, I told my parents, and they told me that they tried to adopt you. And I was like, that's so weird. Like, I can't picture being your sister at all. Like, that's bizarre, but yeah.
that was before social media. Can you imagine if this was on social media? Seriously, I mean, everyone knew your parents hit the jackpot. This entire town wanted you so much because, I mean, there was so much love. Because it was such an extraordinary story that doesn't really happen. I mean, you hear of it happening, obviously, but in Missoula, I can't have ever since you, that just doesn't happen. I remember coming into work and they said, well, they found this baby. I'm like, what? Mm-hmm. That can't possibly happen.
I know.
How do you feel about Kim? You know, she found you, I guess.
She's an amazing woman. I didn't catch up with her until I was like 15 or something, and I found her on Facebook, and she's married, and she's got beautiful kids, and she looks really happy with her life, and I just couldn't be happier that she was part of my life while she was, and I'm so glad that I still get to keep in contact with her.
So her story was like, she heard you like
crying, and she had been going through the back of the alley to go to a payphone, I think I remember correctly, and she just heard crying. Originally, she thought that it was from a car, and then she realized that it was coming from a dumpster and not a car. So she had to go in and find some guys from Liberty Lanes and go dumpster diving.
And voila!
Yeah.
A beautiful little baby in there.
Yeah.
I think some of the interviews we had with the police officers, they still looked a little shocked as they were talking about this whole thing, because it's so
out there. Yeah.
Talk to me about your future. Go 5-10 years in the future. What's Nadia gonna do?
Oh man, I would love to finish my degrees. I want to be somewhere in the medical field. Right now the goal is nursing, but I don't know if that's where God's gonna lead me. So I'm keeping an open mind on it. So I think I'll keep going for my degree and move probably closer to my older sister. I think it would be nice to be close to family, but I don't think I can handle being in a small town for too long. We're in a small town right now, really tiny, and you have to drive like 45 minutes to get to a movie theater. So it's like, all right.
Something bigger.
Yeah, well, just a little bit.
Let her go? Is that okay? I don't know.
It's okay. It's hard.
Yeah, I imagine so. I know, I'm worried when my daughter goes to college. I mean, high school ends in like 3 years. I'm like, wait, no, it's going too fast. Oh my goodness, okay, let's see. And Grace, I think the police officers named you. Is that right, or what's that story? And you kept it as a middle name, or you kept it as a middle name?
So originally, the first name I was ever given was Libby, after Liberty Lanes, and that was by the police officers. When it came down to getting my birth certificates, the hospital actually named me Baby Grace.
No, I think it was actually the social caregiver worker. The social worker that was there. She actually gave me the name.
I think I remember Libby, now that you mention it. Oh, the first story, your baby Doe.
Yes.
And then Libby,
my name went all over the place for a while there. But Grace kind of stuck around for a while, so that's on my original birth certificate, which is cool. And then my parents wanted to keep that as part of my name, so my older sister got to pick out my first name, and then we kept Grace as my middle name. So I'm Nadia Grace.
That's awesome. Are you worried at all, like talking about this now is going to make the bio people, I won't call them birth parents, they're just the bio donors, reach out to you or anything like that? I mean, is there a fear, like, you don't want like them to leave you alone, or?
No, I'm at peace with it. If they came forward, that would be their choice. As I've said, it's an open case, so it would still...
They'd be charged with a crime.
Yes.
Because we were talking about that, like, that's...
Yeah, so, and if they never came forward, I would be fine with that as well.
What are you going to tell your kids about this?
Man, I guess just be honest with them. I think honesty is one of the best forms of communication, and so if I ever have kids, I'd want them to be able to learn from that and hope that they would be honest with me if it ever came under the circumstances that they got pregnant and were too scared to come forward.
Were you always aware how much Missoula loved and supported you? Never even met you, but how much you made such an impact on this town.
I have hundreds of letters and stuffed animals that I still have that are all signed from people all across the county, which is crazy because it's like, you read them and there's so much love in them. They're not just like, those little happy birthday letters that say happy birthday and then you get them. They're all very detailed in love and supportive, and I really appreciate that from everybody.
And you still have that?
Oh yeah, they're in my folder over there. I brought them as well.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
You're fairly open about it. If it comes up, it's not like a deep, dark secret in your life.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I think it's something that I've got to learn from, and I think that everyone else has a right to learn from and see that God really likes to save people. He really does. So, yeah, happy with it.
Like, do you think what happened to you and then your faith will help be a message to others out there? Like, maybe?
I would hope so. Especially for the adoption community. I have a crazy aunt who has adopted 12 kids. And so I feel like even if it's just for the 12 kids that I have as my cousins, I want them all to know that it happens where we get chosen to be in a family sometimes, and that's perfectly okay. And we're still loved and God still loves us.